me take you back to childhood. Remember a time when you were playing outside, maybe near the edge of a creek or along the edge of the woods? It's late summer, and you spot something that you know is going to be fun. Something you have played with every summer, maybe with your friends or your brothers and sisters, or just by yourself. It's that much fun. You brush your hand past several leaves, finally finding what you were looking for. A narrow green pod with lines running lengthwise and meeting at the tip. You move your finger slowly toward the tip of the pod, and as soon as you touch that tip, the pod splits open into 4 long strips, each one peeling back and flinging seeds far and wide. It's over in a second, almost before you know it, and you, eagerly, look for another pod to detonate. What you have found is sometimes called touch-me-not, sometimes garden balsam, sometimes jewelweed, and for clarity, its scientific name is Impatiens capensis. You are listening to Plant Connection. Life today can feel overwhelming, like we've drifted away from its natural rhythm. This podcast is your space to slow down, breathe, and rediscover the peace and clarity that come from reconnecting with the natural world. I'm your host, Lisa Cutshaw. Let's reconnect, one plant at a time. Okay, so I should probably mention this is not the only plant that's commonly called touch-me-not. And you may well have seen another one planted in flower beds, which is not commonly done with jewelweed. My aunt liked to plant that other touch-me-not next to the house, and us kids, we had a blast popping those seed pods too. Now the fact is, I struggled to find a detailed story of how jewelweed factored into one specific human event, and you might wonder why I chose to move forward with the episode. Well, it would be absolutely a mistake to say that jewelweed has not had a profound relationship with people. In fact, I would suggest jewelweed is a true friend to people. Let me illustrate. My son is 11, and he has had one heck of a week. 3 times in the past week, he has let loose with a blood-curdling scream, and I've had to drop what I was doing and sprint to see what on earth was wrong. So yeah, he's been wasp-stung 3 times, and as if that wasn't enough, he got poison ivy, all in the space of a week. Now that would seem like a lot even if it had happened to me, but when it's your kid who's in pain, yeah, all the parents out there will understand that feeling of needing a solution now. Imagine my gratitude that there was a plant right outside our house that would help him feel better. Now herbalists know this already. Jewelweed is known to relieve poison ivy and stings, along with other skin irritations. Now let me step back and say that again. Jewelweed relieves poison ivy. Yeah. Now a few years back, my sister and I went to the pharmacy to get something that might help us. Both of us had poison ivy all over our arms, and we walked out of that store with probably 6 different products, hoping one of them would help. I'm pretty sure a placebo would have done as much as any of them. They were that useless. But split open the stem of jewelweed and rub the liquid on your poison ivy rash, and it legitimately helps. At least it does for me. And within a few days, my son's rash was going away. The best thing is, we have jewelweed available by the armload around here. It grows in a damp spot near our porch, in a little ravine on the other side of my office, and along the creeks on our property. In fact, I have to pull the seedlings out of my garden beds regularly. Prolific is a good word for it. And maybe I should add that it is native here, so if it were planted someplace where it's not really wanted, the word prolific might become aggressive in some people's eyes. So by this time in summer, which is August, the plants are about as tall as I am, 5 feet. The stems are a whitish green, and the leaves are alternate with rounded serrations, all of which probably does nothing to help you picture it in your mind's eye. But the flowers are instantly recognizable. They're small trumpets, roughly 1 inch long, with 1 lobe on the top and 2 lobes on the bottom. In my neck of the woods, they're orange, and they're dotted around the plant like little jewels, which I assume is why it's called jewelweed. The flower color can vary to yellow or reddish too, so orange isn't a requirement. I took some video of the plants here to include in the YouTube version of this episode, So check that out if you'd like to see them. The thing is, Jewelweed embodies a traditional herbal principle. The cure is found near the problem. It likes the same growing conditions as poison ivy, and it's common to see them near each other. Now the reality is that it was Native Americans who figured out how to use jewelweed. Every tribe in the eastern U.S. knew about this, and they used jewelweed for poison ivy along with lots of other skin issues, like nettle stings, hives, and insect bites. If you listened to the nettle episode a few weeks back, you'll know that that's a big deal. Nettle's lessons for us can feel harsh, and jewelweed, which also grows near nettle, is that friend that can soften the pain of the lessons a little bit. Which makes me wonder, what lesson is poison ivy trying to teach us? I'll report back if I come up with anything interesting. You know, it's funny, I feel like I might have some unresolved resentment here for poison ivy. Maybe I'll go out to the woods this afternoon and have a chat with that to work through some of it. And I know exactly where to find some. But not surprisingly, the European settlers benefited from this knowledge, and their descendants have continued to use it for generations. This is one of the herbal remedies that science has begun to study, trying to determine if jewelweed really is an effective medicine. Studies back in 2012 and 2015 confirmed that it is effective, though they couldn't say if it was because of active components in the jewelweed juice or just because it was helping to wash the urushiol oil off the skin. Now, I don't know about you, but I have trouble believing it's no better than soap. Do researchers really think people don't know to wash with soap to get rid of the oil? Seriously, if soap were all it took, we'd all get rid of poison ivy easily. Keep in mind, what I'm talking about is a topical treatment. Whether you're crushing the fresh stem or using salve or soap made with jewelweed, it's just a direct placement onto the affected skin. If you do want to grow some in your garden, it will need space along with moist soil, so near a pond or a creek is ideal. Otherwise, you may need to water it if the soil gets too dry. In any case, you'll want to plant it in a wilder part of your garden, where its big spreading character won't be out of place. If you put it in with formal planting, it's going to feel like a weed. It is an annual, and it easily self-seeds. In fact, as with me pulling it out of the raised beds in the vegetable garden, you may find you have to keep on top of pulling it out of places where it's not supposed to be. But I don't mind. I'm grateful to have a friend who helps me, and my son, lessen the pain of some tough situations in life. I'm lucky that it grows wild in such abundance around our house. This weekend I'll be gathering some to make salve so that we have something year-round that actually helps. And in the meantime, I'll enjoy sitting on the porch and watching bees and hummingbirds visit the flowers. See you outside. Thank you for joining me on this journey back to nature with Plant Connection. If this episode resonated with you, be sure to tap subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss the next episode. See you next time.